I was feeling curious to speak a little bit today about mm, the importance of conscious ceremony. And this can look so many different ways. The way that we can drop into being in a deeper state of presence with oneself and with the way that we relate to life through the vessel of our being, which is through our mind, this mind, the mind of the body, because everything about us, everything in us is living, is alive, is conscious. And to be able to make space to be in this devotional practice of consciousness, curiosity, discovery, truth through presence. Um, it's a mode that I like to carry myself with throughout my day. And I think that there is real beauty in creating a very structured experience, a very ritualized experience with a container where there's details that are formalized to make that space feel even more intentional. And the value and the sort of benefit and learning from that is different and can feel different, can be experienced differently. So I like to make space for this, whether it's with some sort of medicinal support or not. I feel really held by cultivating a ceremony with myself, a ceremony to myself, with myself, for myself, um, really at least weekly. Um, the medicinal component of it is definitely not as frequent as that, but I really choose to be um, in a place of deeper drop in with myself somatically, and for a longer duration of time, at least once a week. And longer duration meaning like a minimum of an hour, and ideally more like a few hours, or at least two or upwards of 6, 7 hours. The 6, 7, like that would be more occasionally, like every 4 to 6 weeks or so. But really just creating a container to be with oneself in a way that actually gets to know oneself in a different way, because so much of our life as we're moving through our day, we're literally just existing from what has been practiced and known and patterned in our brain. And that can be a perpetual experience until we exit our physical body. And that's fine. There's so many ways to do life, and I have zero judgment, and this is not for me to say, "This is how you should live your life." This is to say, if you desire to have a more curious, intentional, conscious way of being with yourself, with life, we have to actually choose to make space for this. Um, because otherwise we're literally just we're living in the program, and to exit that program or that pattern can't actually happen when we're just in it. So to choose a space, whether it's being cultivated and curated and held by facilitators, which I strongly believe in, I think we can do a lot of processing once you have kind of a development of one's own capacity for deep somatic curiosity. We can be more consistent with this, and I believe, like, in a daily practice, it's absolutely essential for us to wake up to ourselves, um, in a moment to moment way of being with life, with ourselves. And to choose a space or spaces that are in the container with reflection, with relationship with another human being whose body can show up in such presence with you that allows your own body to relax and become deeply present with itself. So, so valuable. And that's how I show up for my clients in the work that I do, either one on one or in group spaces, that my body itself, the animal body of me, has such presence in itself that, the relaxation of the other person's experience becomes accessible. I find this happening all of the time, even when it's like an unplanned, um, thing, and it's just like, "Oh, I'm having a conversation with a friend or a stranger," that, because the presence of me is so, sensed, it's like there's a felt experience of my body being in the presence of this person or persons, and then, ooh, like, all of this stuff just comes forth because they're able to feel relaxed in themselves because my attention is able to be fully with their experience. So to find a facilitator where your body mind can actually fully relax into itself because the protectiveness is strong, right? Like it is so strong that sometimes we need another person's actual like organism, animal body to help us feel safe to go to go in, and that's hard. It's challenging because of the reasons why it's challenging, which is that the stuff that's in there is usually really really uncomfortable and painful to acknowledge is there, and the burden of carrying shame is so strong, and there's such a wall because to feel the shame feels so gross. There's like a disgust to feel one's own shame. And so to be able to be met by another human whose presence in the energetics says, "You are all welcome here. You are all loved here. You are all seen here. You are all able to be met here," is essential to transformation. Yes. So, ceremony, ritual, containment of a ceremonial ritual container as an element of transformation is it's non-negotiable. It's an essential part of moving through one's layers. Um, mm, I had a ceremony last Friday, and I actually did use medicine, and um, the medicine that I chose, I've never done it in this amount on my own. I did a solo psilocybin journey with quite a bit of psilocybin, and it was amazing. And the way that different medicines can help us feel even more deeply, it allows ourselves to create these openings and connections in the patterned brain that we might not otherwise be able to access. So I had a mentor describe, like, if your brain has like these two this pathway, boom, 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 it's going back and forth here. What psilocybin does is like these pathways, these other three fingers that are closed, it just goes and they're all open and they're all connecting with each other. And then the tail of that psychedelic chemical in the brain, it actually lingers. It's like you might feel the whole arc of the actual direct experience of the medicine for 4 to 6 hours, but the tail of that medicine is still alive and moving and opening the dendrites of the brain for quite a few weeks. It's like it's really strong for about a week or so period of time, but then it continues for another I've heard, up to, like, 6 to 8 weeks, and to keep that open, like, alcohol shuts it all down, even marijuana shuts it all down, but to keep the psychedelic tail effect and to actually make the shifts of the patterning it's like this it's a ripe period after the direct experience with the medicine. So I am loving the fact that I have an awareness of that that's what's happening in my mind, and I am loving that there is such a commitment in me to be devotional to my own self-discovery. It's the most amazing thing to get to know oneself and to feel the solidarity that comes through in one's being and nervous system through the actual experience of getting to know oneself consciously. Um, we can feel like we know ourselves, but really the knowing ourselves is just the familiarity. And the familiarity for so many of us is generated because of the original attachment strategies that we as an organism just generated without choice. We were simply responding to our environment. When we're under the age of 7, 8, the brain is in a wave state where we're actually not thinking as we do as adults about what we're doing. We're just existing. We're just in dynamic in this very raw, organic, spontaneous way. And unfortunately, so many of us had to fight to maintain connection as children. Totally unnatural. It was never supposed to be that way for the Homo sapien, but many of us had to because of so many things that I'm not going to go into right now. This modern Western context that has actually forced all of us, because we've all been kids. What doesn't matter what age we are, we've all been through childhood like forced us to have to shut certain things off in ourselves so that we could maintain connection with our caregivers because that connection actually equaled staying alive. And then those patterns just perpetuate until we get curious. So the self-discovery process is the most primary primary return on our investment of our body feeling this capacity to being free in itself that any one of us could do. So if there's been a curiosity for you to explore conscious self-discovery, I am here to acknowledge and celebrate your curiosity for that and to invite you to lean into that in whatever way feels accessible for you, knowing that this can be, it's an expansion over time in whatever that we're able to say yes to. The yes is essential also. Like none of these things can be forced. So, agency is super important, and the agency of pattern agency in pattern is actually removed. We think that we're in agency, but we're actually just living in this sort of automatic way. Um, we restore true agency when we actually get curious about how our pattern is perpetuating our decision making from the subconscious. So, yeah, I'm encouraging everyone who's listening to this at some point, if there's a curiosity there, there are beautiful ways to explore that in tandem as a dyad with a collaborative partner who can allow your body to be safe so that you can be in that place of vulnerability with oneself. The most important thing that we all can do for the world, for ourselves, for humanity, existence itself. Okay. Thank you. Sending love and wishing you beautiful, gentle, soft compassion, curiosity on your journey wherever you're at with yourself. And stay tuned for, I'm going to continue this show, and I'm also going to be launching a podcast, which I'm going to call Wild Open, a liturgy for the human body. It's coming soon, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And if you're curious to talk about private spaces with me, I work both virtually and in person, and you can reach me through my profile on Substack. All right, sending lots of love. Mwah.